here, kid. You want to learn some arithmetic?
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to some more Arknights lore. Today, Serby suggested that we check out Babel, I believe, was like a storyline based on the Doctor pre-amnesia.
I stumbled on this video when I was just trying to find just Arknights lore and story and stuff, and this was a video that, I don't know, the title intrigued me, and I thought it was really cool, so I wanted to share it.
Awesome. Okay. Yeah, I have no idea what to expect from this outside of the very rough overview that Serby explained to me during our previous video. Also, I would like to note that we are recording this before, actually, it's like 30 minutes before the public release of our first Arknights video. So if you guys suggest anything there, we don't know the future, we won't know. Next week, we'll likely maybe have something to check out that is more in line with some of your suggestions. But yeah, for now, we're sort of winging it. Of course, before we get into the reaction video, please make sure to go support the original creator. This is a fairly small channel, actually, only like 2.5k subs. So definitely, if you see this video and you like Arknights lore, go and show them your support. Link to that at the very top of the description, like always. Without further ado,
100%.
Let's get into this.
Babel, the most anticipated event in the entirety of Arknights. The event where we finally get to see the pre-amnesia Doctor. The event where we get to experience Theresa's charisma for ourselves. The event where everything about the Castle Civil War is finally revealed, and much, much more. It is a story about love and heartbreak, tragedies and new beginnings. There's a lot of as well, and it would be a shame if only people who play Arknights knew about it, which is why I made this video, and most of my other videos for that.
Okay, this is awesome, and I appreciate it immensely because I'm not into the tower defense gameplay. I thought it would be, but yeah, it doesn't really click with me. And I think a lot of people in the comments, at least among our members that I've seen, have sort of echoed the same thing. Gameplay wasn't for them, even though like the character design, the art style, the story, the music, it's all hitting. Yeah. So I'm really glad that there are videos like this out there on YouTube that we can check out and learn about this cool world.
100%.
Chronologically, you could argue that Babel is the first event that happens in the game. There are a lot of characters and a lot of motivations in this story.
Wait a minute.
Happens in the game. There are a lot of characters.
I mean, that's Amiya, right? Pretty sure. This girl looks kind of familiar. Do we see her in Enfield at all? Huh. I don't know.
No, I don't think so.
I don't know where I recognize her from.
I still haven't watched much of Enfield because I'm trying to. Because I already know I'm interested, so I'm just
we're gonna get there someday.
Especially now that we have a release date.
Yep. Was it January 22nd?
I don't think Calcit.
Oh,
however you say her name.
This is her?
Is in it?
Oh, okay. Admittedly, ever since we watched the first video, I have downloaded Arknights again, and I've been going through like the very beginning section of it. I've only seen mention of her, and we haven't even gotten to her yet because I'm still doing the tutorial and whatnot. But all right. Yeah. I see.
And a lot of motivations in this story, so
Act 2 of the story.
It's going to be a long one.
Gotcha.
After
not too far
watching this, you could go watch my W video, which explores the fall of Babel through a different,
my units aren't good enough yet.
Not as intricate lens. Either way, let's start this video with a little bit of Terra history.
Hell yeah, that's what we're here for.
In Arknights, there aren't really any humans. What I mean by that is that every race on Terra has something unique to itself. Perros are dog ears, Kurantas are horse people, and Jaeger are fishmen. All of these animal-based races have their own nations and cultures. These animal-based races are called ancients. There are other races as well, like the Dracos and the Knightsmore and Kuranta, which are based more on mythological beings. They are categorized as elders. There are other races as well that can be allocated to their own categories, but the main race of this video are the Tikas, better known as the Sarkas. They're also based on mythological creatures, but unlike the elders, they encompass the more demonic creatures we know of in real life,
Gotcha.
like vampires and leeches. Their main home is a place and city called Casdol. Throughout thousands of years, Casdol has been destroyed, rebuilt, destroyed constantly, over thousands of times, allegedly. This has been happening for two big reasons. One, their complete refusal of integrating into the greater society of Terra, and two, the constant civil wars that make the unification of the whole race almost impossible.
So, if I recall from the previous video that we checked out, the Sarkas were the ones was it the Victorians hired in order to help stop the uprising, and then they were like, psych, we'll backstab you too and use your giant cannons to shoot at you too. Now we control this city? Is that was that like an event that happened in the past, or is this current day Victoria being controlled by Sarkas?
That I don't know. The person they showed in that video is in this, but timeline-wise, I don't know where that takes place.
Gotcha. Might be ancient history by now. You don't know. Just a quick overview of the history of Terra was what we were looking at. So,
because of their rather chaotic nature, the other races of Terra are not really too fond of the Sarkas. Because the Sarkas are constantly in war, war is also their culture.
Okay, also props for crediting the specific Pixib ID too for the screenshots that we took, or the art style.
Yeah, I love how this creator
artwork,
shows their sources for the artwork and the music.
The best way to make a living as a Sarkas is to be a mercenary until you inevitably die to an unlucky contract. Sarkas rarely form tight bonds, even with others of their race. Not every Sarkas is a wanderer, but most are. And those...
So, would vampires, because I know you mentioned there are vampires here too, also fall under Sarkas? So, I guess there's more demonic beings in general.
There is Warfare. I have her. She's a vampire.
Gotcha.
She's a Sarkas.
Who wander have no real names, at least not from birth. They simply adopt/come up with whatever names they fancy on the fly. In short, most Sarkas are nomads that make money through killing and are not trusting in the slightest. But as I said, not every Sarkas lives this way. Only like 50 to 60%.
Okay.
Which is still a lot.
Yeah.
Sarkas also have tribes, all of which have royalty. From the Cyclops, to the Gargoyles, to the Banshees, and many, many more. While they're technically sub-races of the Sarkas, it's better to think of each tribe as a race of its own, and Sarkas as their combination.
Gotcha.
All the tribes form a unified court, but as I said, the unification of Sarkas as a whole has been a dream for as long as anyone can remember. Just because someone is a vampire doesn't mean that they actually are in the vampire tribe. Still, with the court, there is some semblance of unity within the Sarkas. Surprisingly though, the Sarkas are monarchical. Kind of. While they have kings, the kings aren't chosen by blood. Every generation has a Sarkas king, and that king is chosen by the Civilite Eterna, also known as the Black Crown. While the Sarkas do suffer from classicism, the crown doesn't care about that and can be worn by whoever is worthy of it. And the person who wears the crown gets the ultimate respect from Sarkas of all kinds. It's not just a crown, but also a device that grants power. With it, the Sarkas king can manipulate, understand, and control the emotions of other beings. Not only that, but it can also control and even destroy memories.
Holy shit. You don't want this crown on the wrong person. I wonder what criteria the crown decides. Is the crown itself sentient? Does it just have some sort of ancient magic tied to it? If that is a thing here.
Simply wearing it is enough for most Sarkas to look up to you and consider you their king. It gives aura, to put it nicely. I think I have gone through everything that I need to for now, so let's go over some actual history, starting from the 9th century. I say 9th century, but I'm not talking about the real world, but the 9th century of Terra, which birthed two of the most important characters in Arknights, Teresa and Theresis.
That was the dude
Teresa
that we saw
and
in
Theris
the previous
are both
video,
Sarkas.
yeah.
What kind of Sarkas, I can't tell you. All we know is that they are mixed blood. We also know that for a time they were both in Castle and lived together humbly as brother and sister. Theris was in the army, just a recruit, and Teresa was a tailoress, two completely ordinary twins. Nothing out of the
A
norm
blue
about
fish,
them.
gotcha.
One day though, the king of Sarkas at the time, called Elise, I think that's how it's pronounced, took notice of Teresa's work as a clothes maker and decided to take them both in. Teresa as a seamstress and Theris as a guard. It wasn't all good though. In Terran year 898, three of the biggest nations of Terra in Victoria, Gaul and Lithuania decided to form an alliance to race through Castle. Castle was simply not strong enough to handle pressure from that many enemies, and so during that war, Elise died, leaving the
This is
Sarkas.
Around the time I think that the other video was, probably.
Yeah, because we had destroyed their homeland, and then afterwards they became mercenaries, and we hired them in order to stop an uprising in our territory, and led to that whole situation. I get it.
Our ruler. A long time ago, the Cyclops that mostly lived in the frigid north had already prophesied this. Armies fell upon our home. Them I saw from afar. From valleys to hills, our lands they scarred. The king, the myriad souls did lament. But that isn't where the prophecy ends. Yet one sovereign fell, 6 heroes rose. They blew the horn, led the fight, faced their foes, alas the wondrous city collapsed, to ruin swift as the fleeting peace elapsed. When all seemed lost, a black crown appeared. The twins brought hope where dread had reared. This
Twins.
poem is one of the first things that Babel, the event, shows us. As you can probably guess, after the death of Ulysses, 6 heroes rose. We have Blacarella Malin.
Oh my.
Jesus. Which is a banshee that later becomes the representative of the banshees in the Sarkas court. Same goes with Nesalem and Fremont, who lead over the Nachserer and the leeches respectively. And then we have
I know
Goliath.
one of the few things I've seen from Enfield, the Nazir, I don't know how you say it, but that like subset, that the other one with the long drapey dude him.
Yeah.
I know part of their whole thing is like cannibalism.
Oh,
but
boy.
the girl in Enfield, like part of her like blurb that they said about her is basically that she doesn't do that, which makes her weird for like her subset. I guess I don't know. That's one of the few things about Enfield that I've seen.
Yeah, that'll be something interesting to explore once you learn a bit more about all this stuff and get to Enfield and read some of the characters. And I guess how things have changed over time, because I don't think it's ever going to be like in the same time period.
It seems to take place seemingly in the future.
Yeah, that's what it seems like.
Goliath, which we know pretty much nothing about, and finally, the 2 twins. These 6 Sarkas became warriors, generals, and leaders during the war against their 3 enemies, and eventually managed to drive back the invaders, restoring a flimsy peace in Castle. After the war, Teresa and Theris came across the Black Crown, hearing its whispers. Either of them could take it, but Theris decided to leave the crown with Teresa. While they are twins and have always lived together, Teresa and Theris are 2 completely different people. Teresa is idealistic and warm. She cares for her kind immensely and wants to bring glory to Castle through peace. Theris is more cold and...
I mean, I could tell you just looking at the character design, not gonna lie. My guy is not the kind-hearted type who's willing to let his enemies go or meet people halfway. He's got to rule with an iron fist if he does gain that crown.
Still idealistic, but in a different way. He's more realistic with his ideals, thinking of war as the only way to bring peace to the Sarkas.
That is such like a backwards thing. But it's kind of true and also very not true at the same time. Man,
Yeah.
life sucks when that is sort of the reality of things. Even in fiction, we can't escape it.
But to him, the ideals of Teresa not only suited the crown more, but were also simply more beautiful. Theresis saw Teresa as the one who can bring hope, unlike himself. Because of that, Teresa became the new king of Sarkas, crowned by Theresis himself.
I wonder if this is an Elden Ring situation where it's like
about Elden Ring to say.
for those of you watching this who do know, this might be like a Mikola Melania situation. Maybe a bit of spoilers if you guys are keen about that for the Elden Ring DLC. But Mikola was basically, I guess, the little brother of the gods, essentially. And he always seemed like the most innocent and pure. But it turns out that he was the craftiest one who used his charisma and charm to force people to do his bidding for a world of peace, quote unquote. That was basically under his control. After learning about the whole Mikola situation, I never trust any of these like idealistic characters who seem like peaceful and just want the best for everybody, you know?
My takeaway, not to get too far ahead, but I think she's earnest in her like ideals, but doesn't take the best routes, make the best choices, probably.
Theresis, on the other hand, decided to become her guard, her blade, her enforcer. Teresa only had one vow to give. I swear this vow to every Sarkas. We will always be equal. Equal not just to themselves, but also other races. Equal to everyone else on Terra. From there, they started rebuilding Castle and making it better than ever.
Is this a situation where every man is born equal? Some are just born more equal than others still? Because true equality, I don't think really exists out there. We couldn't fight for it, and we should.
That's
But,
tough. Yeah.
Bringing new technology to Castle, turning the city into a nomadic,
Technology!
strengthening the Sarkas royal courts and military. For around
It is funny seeing
100
Castle on the map. It's just the one little hex versus all the others.
It's like a tiny little pimple on the face of the earth, or on the face of Terra.
But a very dangerous little pimple.
Once it bursts, yeah, it's gonna affect everything else. Gotta get rid of that real quick, man. Ugh.
50 years, until finally we reach the first chapter of the Babel event. Terran year 1030.
That's a lot of
Finally,
years.
I can actually talk about the event itself.
I guess they live longer than normal human lifespans, though.
The story starts in the summer of 1094. Not really. The first chapter is just a flash forward viewed by one rather important character. In it, that very character gets killed by a violet-haired assassin, a Sarkas rebellion happens in a different country, and also the death of Teresa.
Oh,
The character that views this prophecy is the Cyclops Sarkas, by the name of Scar-Eye, the head of the Scar Market.
damn.
Basically,
Yeah, this design is so cool. Honestly, all the designs
It
I've seen
is,
thus
yeah.
far in this video have been really cool. It's one of Arknight's strengths, character design.
Yeah.
he is a man who
100%.
controls the Sarkas mercenaries. Whenever Sarkas wants a contract, they mostly find one through him. While he isn't in direct control of the Sarkas mercenaries, he does control their flow of income greatly. Without him, the nomadic Sarkas don't really have a way of finding jobs and contracts. In the year 1030, he was living a decent life as a godfather, looking over the Scar Market. In the Scar Market, we meet another character who, at this point, was lacking a name. He's a Sarkas that got enslaved by another Sarkas and was being sold in the Scar Market. Sadly, he's a worthless slave only worth 2 swords, so his poor master
Damn.
decided not to sell him just yet. Suddenly, a commotion happened. A commotion caused by the royal Sarkas twins. They were there to talk to Scar-Eye. While Teresa was talking to Scar-Eye alone, Theresis was outside, guarding the two of them. Once he noticed a Sarka slave, he cut his chains and the chains of other Sarka slaves. Why? Simply, he isn't a fan of slavery, especially when it comes to Sarkas enslaving other Sarkas. Big
Oh yeah, I mean, we are all equal is what his sister said. This is not equality.
things were going
Yeah.
to happen soon. The Sarkas needed unity. While waiting for Teresa, Theresis decides to have some fun and fight whoever wants to fight him, giving others a chance to test themselves against the almighty general. Which leads us to Teresa and Scarai. Over the years, ever since the war from around 150 years ago, Kasdal has been developing rapidly. Even so, within that 150-something years, much has changed. Gaul, which used to be one of the most powerful
Gone?
nations of Terra, recently fell to a war and was wiped clean off the map.
Yeah, okay.
Gaul didn't mix well with the other nations around it and paid the price. At this point, Gaul wasn't gone yet, but it was apparent that it wasn't going to survive. And years later, it didn't. Normally, Kasdal would be able to fight back the invaders, but another problem was the insane growth of technology. If things kept going as they were,
X.
Kasdal would be helpless against the overwhelming weapons of its neighbors. Kasdal needed to integrate. For that, there needed to be reformations in Kasdal. For one, Teresa was planning on making the military commission. Basically, she wanted to modernize Kasdal's military. For it, she planned on doing away with the classicism present within Kasdal and recruit as many royal and common Sarkas into it as possible, all under one banner.
Now, here's the thing. If you unite your entire nation against an external threat, then you can get shit done, right? And here, very clearly, we're falling behind the times. Other nations just have more resources than us. We can't be abiding by these, like, you know, selling our own people as slaves and whatnot. And I think that is going to be a very powerful way to unite people. But it can go oh so wrong and go way too far at some point down the line. For sure. As all methods usually end up as. We do know a little bit, though, about what's going to happen here in the future. I'm very curious to know how it all ties back into the doctor's pre-amnesiac state, though, and his whole life there. How he was involved in any of this.
I do think it's interesting that, like, one of the most notable things that we start with in this story is the girl who's trying to, like, pursue peace, just forming a new military.
Yeah. I mean, as we stated before, to find peace through war, it is so backwards. And that is just how it is.
Yeah.
And the warrior trains his entire life for the sake of war. And his ultimate goal is peace, which ultimately makes him useless. When true peace is achieved, the warrior has no job. He has no reason to exist. It is so sad. Life sucks. But just remember, when you think that life sucks, my favorite motto to always say, it is what it is.
All under one banner. Theresis would be in charge of it. That is why Teresa was here, to see if there are any Sarkas in the Scar market willing to join the military commission. Scarai, of course, agreed. Him and the Sarkas mercs profit off of chaos.
Obviously.
Chaos brings death, and death brings them money. After all, that is what they sell.
War is so incredibly profitable. It is sad.
Unfortunately, yeah.
There will be some
Always has been, always
nations
will be.
that just straight up find whatever dumbass reason to go to war just so we can have some sort of reason to make profit off of it. Or maybe get rid of our own debts. You never know. Not gonna say any names here, but if you know, you know.
Death. And Scarai could sense that soon, because of the actions of Teresa, there would be a lot of chaos. Another thing with Scarai is that while he respects the Black Crown, he respects himself just as much. He doesn't see the worth in Kasdal. While its people are all Sarkas, Sarkas isn't actually one singular race.
Holy shit.
It's multiple forming a coalition and a nation. And a nation is a target. On the other hand, it's very clear that the other nations of Terra are fine with the Scar market existing, at least as mercenaries. The Sarkas are already a lonely people, and yet there are still Sarkas that don't fit into Kazdal either. The Scar Market is the home for Sarkas like that, a home that will always be there, unlike Kazdal, which has been destroyed constantly. Even if the Scar Market fights, they will still be safe if they remain as mercenaries. His point is that the world of Terra is much more receptive to the Scar Market than to Kazdal. The Scar Market...
Yeah, this makes a whole lot of sense of why he'd view it this way. Because if your entire culture, or the majority of our culture, is basically this, then whoever controls this is king. So
Yeah.
the only reason he would agree to any of this, even after seeing like her death or whatnot, which I'm assuming Cyclops can just do from time to time, based off of what we've
I'm not
learned
sure
at
how that
least
works.
from here,
But
yeah. He would be 100% down for it because it only profits him either way, right? It is a win-win situation for him.
will always be welcome. As I said, around 50% of Sarkas are all mercs. Even so, Teresa sees him as short-sighted. As far as you can guess, if he is talking about this, Scarai has seen the fall of Kazdal, the deaths of Teresa, Theresis, and even himself. But he hasn't actually seen Kazdal or the future through his own lens, only through the lens of prophecy. And so, after telling him that she looks forward to his visit to Kazdal, she leaves. As you already know, Scarai had seen the prophecies, which is why he bought his own coffin earlier in the day. After that, Scarai gives out his orders, and the Scar Market gets officially hired by Kazdal for a deep, nice cooperation.
Okay.
Along with the military commission, there was another faction that Teresa wanted to create, a faction by the name of Babel. Theresis would control the military commission, while Teresa herself wanted to focus on Babel. Babel was meant to bridge the gap between the Sarkas and the other races of Terra.
I'm going to assume that, yeah, this is directly a reference to the thing in the Bible where it all comes crashing down at the end. Pretty sure. We maybe got a little too close to God. Yeah. I don't know the full story. I know the gist of it, though. And it's like an inspiration for so many things in a lot of media. I'm assuming that she named it that not because of actual ancient history. And it's just, you know, a new name that in our real world is a reference to that, obviously. But to her, she didn't know.
Probably, yeah.
It's like naming your project after something that failed in the past. Like historically, legendarily failed.
Or name your biotech company umbrella.
Yeah, that's probably not a good idea.
With the help of Babel, people of other races could live within Kazdal's walls as well. She wanted to integrate into the wider world through diplomatic means. But just in case things ever went south, she decided to make the military commission as well. The problem with that is that the Sarkas were already struggling with just themselves. The Sarkas weren't unified yet, so trying to unify the Sarkas with other countries was not realistic.
Impossible.
The twins knew this. They knew how low their chances were. Even so, they had to go through with it. The only other way of strengthening Kazdal was not as moral. Theresis didn't really like the decision to focus on Babel, but he still wanted to support his sister, so he didn't stop her. And so, they returned to Kazdal. Another character that returned to Kazdal was the worthless slave. After Theresis saved him, he decided to turn his life around and find some good work within Kazdal. He also decided to change his name to Good Luck, because, you know, he got lucky. Fast forward to 1 year later, the autumn of 1031. The twins finally managed to gather most of the Sarkas nobles in one place to talk about establishing the military commission for good. Until now, Kazdal had the War Council, which was more classicism focused. It put the Sarkas royals way above the others and gave them immense power. The military commission was meant to be a more modernized take on it. In this meeting, we have the twins, Lachlan, leader of the Banshees, the Solemn, the Nachzur King, Dukrel, the Vampire King, and the Damatzi. It's just complicated. Everyone knew that the Cyclops tribe wouldn't show up, but surprisingly, Fremont, leader of the Leeches, also didn't show up, instead giving a letter to Lachlan. The Leeches have been stuck in Lithuania for a long time, on their quest for knowledge. Because of that, Fremont couldn't make it in time.
Lithuania was the whole arts and music country, right? With the Witch King?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. To visit Kasdal. Even so, if Kasdal ever required the knowledge of his people, he would happily share, but he won't take part in the military commission himself. Same goes for the Banshees. At this point, the Banshees are very weak. Even Lachlan is barely hanging on, even though she was once one of the 6 heroes.
No, she's not actually this hot. No! The greatest lie ever. Damn it.
You can't even see her face in this.
Well, it doesn't matter. She's hot to me, okay?
Banshees will help when truly needed, but otherwise plan on staying put. While not the best start, the 2 tribes weren't against the military commission. They would be allies, just not under one banner. Thankfully, the Damatzi did want to join the military commission. Next was Nasalam, the former leader of the War Council and the God of War. He too wanted to help the military commission and would join. He, along with the other leaders, all desired change. As long as Teresa had plans of bringing that change, he would help. Which finally leaves Dukrel, the only one skeptical of this whole ordeal.
He slayed a god once? And is the fabulous looking
His
vampire,
design is amazing, yeah.
Disbanding the War Council with so much history so suddenly was something he didn't like. To him, the military commission was pointless. Even so, he didn't outright reject the proposal either. He just had some frustrations and confusion. Back in the day, it was Teresa that established the War Council. She herself made it a century back, so why change it now? And what if Dukrel declines? Will they outcast him and his vampires? Throw them out of nobility? Even so, why not just kill him now? All for what, a new age? The Age of the 6 Heroes, which was beloved, was made on bloodshed, and was powerful. At the time, he was so impressed with the strength of the Sarkas that he took the head of an enemy envoy and offered it to the council himself, to Nasalam. The death of Ylise was the new age, so why was even Nasalam okay with this? What were they all after? To which Nasalam tells them, all I await is the next war. A big war was coming, one that would throw all of Terra into disarray. At this point, not
You know, at least bro knows what he's about. He's like, war is my thing, and I want more of it, and if I join this council, there will be more of it, so hell yeah. Let's go.
It's like, I don't know what all this peace talk is, but if you want me on the War Council, I can do war.
If peace leads to war, then peace is good. I want more of that too.
but a verdict. Kasdal was changed, and simply needs to change more. How can the Sarkas unify when they have nobility? How can they grow when they're stuck in past glory? Kasdal needs to be more efficient and more modern. If Dukrel wants, he can hold control over his vampires, but he also must yield to the military commission, same as every other Sarkas. Kasdal has been a single city for far too long. It needs to be more. The twins decided to take over, talking about the growth of tactics, of weaponry, and how in the countless wars raging right now, Sarkas fight in all of them as mercenaries, mages, and heroes. To other nations, Sarkas are disposable troops in this ever-growing world, nothing more. As Thyrsis would said, the Sarkas need strength. Worst case scenario, if things don't work out, they will dictate the fate of Terra themselves. Finally, Dukrel is convinced, praising the others for their work. 3 tribes in, 2 tribes allies, 0 tribes against them. The military commission was established, and so the nobles leave, leaving the twins in the war room. Thyrsis made it clear that if things don't work out, he will have to control the Sarkas himself. not just because of his own beliefs, but also because Kazdul hungers for war. It's not logical, but war never is. And yet, people strive for it. Teresa promises him that no matter what, she won't let it come to that. No matter what, the Sarkas will live with others and not as enemies.
And so we've established this war council full of warmongers. Yes, this is how it will go down.
The twins were already tired, and they both knew that things weren't going to get any easier. Babel came at the same time as the military commission. The Sarkas didn't like Babel, nor the non-Sarkas it brought with it. One day, a captain named Medic, working for Babel, wanted to treat an injured Sarkas, but was almost injured by the very same Sarkas due to racism. She got saved by good luck, but because good luck is worthless, he got hurt as well. She nursed him, and from there, they got to know each other, and eventually, even had a kid. Fast forward to 1068, and Lithonians are still enemies with Kazdul. They sent an envoy to the Scar market in order to see if they can buy the services of Scarai and have him betray Kazdul. Scarai killed him and threw his dead body into the Soul Furnace, which is an important Sarkas place. Two other people were present at the Soul Furnace at the time, the twins. Due to the Lithonians, Kazdul had no choice but to rush headfirst into a catastrophe. Being a mobile city, it could do that. Now, what is a catastrophe? Basically, inexplainable natural disasters that carry originium. Catastrophes can be storms, earthquakes, and pretty much everything else. What is originium? Well, it's complicated. The general people of Terra simply know it as the ultimate power source with magical properties. They also know it as the rock that can give people orepathy, which is basically volatile rock cancer.
Yep.
Originium is used pretty much everywhere,
Rock
but
cancer is
contact
funny.
with raw originium is like contact with active radiation.
I hear a lot of people call it rock cancer, which I get, but neuropathy is actually contagious, whereas cancer you can't spread from person to person. But I do understand that it's like the rapid growth of the rock formations is similar to how cancer is like rapid tumor growth.
Mm-hmm. I love how you actually them as the biology student.
I don't mean to, I'm sorry.
It's alright, it's funny.
You want to touch unless you know what you're doing. People infected with orepathy are called the infected. No one likes the infected. There are two main ways of getting orepathy: staying in a high originium density environment for far too long, or having your blood exposed to it. People can't exactly infect others, that's not how it works. Even so, because the people of Terra are like the people on Earth, they believe that it can be spread by just being near an infected. And finally, the worst part is that once an infected dies, they explode into a cloud of originium. So even those who know that infected can make others infected, see it as a risk to keep them around. So normally, when someone gets infected, they lose their job, family, and even home. So now we know more about the world of Terra. As Kazdul was moving towards a catastrophe, Teresa asks Thyrsus about what he thinks is the fate of Kazdul. He puts it plainly: it probably won't survive. The last time Kazdul went through...
I imagine him turning to his sister being like, yep, we're fucked. We tried. It was a good run.
A catastrophe, it was put a decade back. Scarai, being present at the Soul Furnace, assures them that Kazdul isn't dying soon. Whether as an active city or not, he can't tell. He also assures them that he has no plans of betraying Kazdul. But the reason why he killed the Lithonian envoy wasn't because he was patriotic towards Kazdul, but because he only teams with the winning side. As far as he could gather, Kazdul was the winning side.
For now.
Back inside the city, we are introduced to two other characters, Manfred and Oda. Both.
Oh my god. Okay, you're not gonna get this reference at all. The name Manfred sends me. because he is like one of the most hated characters in Warhammer Fantasy.
Okay.
So to give some very like bare bones context, he's a vampire lord who did the dumbest thing ever, stabbed the dude who was about to save the entire Warhammer Fantasy universe in the back for a really no good reason, and then doomed Warhammer Fantasy, and the entire universe got destroyed because GW didn't want to make anything about it anymore.
Damn.
Damn you, Manfred. And of course, TV loves him because he's bald, so that's another fun fact.
Yeah, of course. And he's a villain.
Yep.
Children at the time. Oda, the smaller child, was lost and was looking for his parents. Manfred was going into the battlefield because, 1916. So, not wanting to leave the smaller kid by himself, Manfred decides to help him find his parents. Turns out the smaller child's parents work for Babel, and his dad is good luck. Good luck, the thing that everyone desperately needed. Which leads us to the autumn of 1068. The Lithonian fleets pursuing Kasdal had to stop. The devils had charged into the eye of the storm.
Yeah, it's a really bad idea to go straight into the catastrophe just to chase down your prey. That would probably lead to way more losses on your end than you really need.
Through sheer good luck, the twins managed to find a safe path through the storm. Calm road surrounded by death.
Actually, now I think about it, then I'm assuming that Kasdal itself has to always constantly be on the move because it's always going to be hunted down by all these bigger nations surrounding it.
Probably.
So this is probably like a normal scenario for Kasdal, and why it's been destroyed over and over and over again, I'm assuming.
Because of that, Kasdal not only survives pretty much unscathed, but also loses its pursuers. But more surprisingly, ahead of them they see a child. A violet-haired child that could barely even talk, covered in grime and dirt. Sarka's orphan, holding a rusty blade. Theresis approaches the child, taking her blade, but she wrestles her out, pointing the blade at Theresis. Kill you, is what she said. As far as Teresa could tell, she didn't even know what she was saying. She was simply imitating sounds she had heard before. Theresis tells her to give him the knife so that he can teach her how to hold it, to which she reluctantly agrees. She didn't have a name, so the twins named her Ascalon and took her under their wing. 10 days later, Kasdal finally got out of the storm. Good Luck's wife was finally being accepted.
Just to give someone. You don't have a name? Okay, Ascalon.
Random child on the street. I now christen you Ascalon. Go do a crime.
But Sarka's in Kasdal, to the point that she could finally help around without getting looks. Sure, she wasn't Sarka's. Sure, she was a captain from Lithonia. But more important than any of that, she was a trustworthy doctor. And so, she sees an injured, brooding Sarkas approaching her, and her first instinct was to try and help. The man told her that he had lost his son, killed by the arts of Lithonian casters, burnt alive. His brothers, dead. Captain, dead.
Not
And
Erwin.
so, as he was going on and on, he caught a glimpse of an emblem on her staff. A noble emblem belonging to one of the families that had killed his loved ones.
Yeah.
She didn't sense the hostility and tried to treat him, until she found out that he was armed. She drew her last breath, and nothing more. This was bad. Really bad.
Thank you for defining bad. Yeah. But, I mean, I get the whole revenge aspect. Indiscriminately killing people of another race in the area that we've created in order to unite with everybody else is certainly going to cause a ruckus. Because then everybody else who's there is going to be like, will I be next? Because I'm not Sarkaz? I'm better get out of here. This whole Babylon project is not going to work out, man.
Kasdal was just a city. An incident like this would be known by everyone. A Babel member murdered by a returning soldier, by a veteran. Babel could not afford controversies, not when people were already skeptical of it. The first crack. The man was immediately taken to Teresa, but by then he had lost his mind, raving on about his son and friends and his quote-unquote victory. His son was dead, he was simply in denial. Teresa told him that he had killed a Babel doctor. He told her that he only fights Lithonians, their enemies. With her black crown, Teresa could tell that the man was not even aware of the crime he had committed, lost in his delusions. Theresis decided to take care of him himself. With his orders, the man was taken away. The man could barely even use any arts, yet the guards around the hospital were hypnotized. That was how he was able to bring in his weapon. Someone was working against them. Theresis tells Teresa that the military commission won't investigate this matter, not for a non-sarcos. That would rile people up. Babel should do the same.
Well, we learn later most likely the identity wasn't important. A lot of sarcas hate Babel and put contracts on Babel. Operators in the Scar market could have been anyone. Yeah, literally anybody who dislikes this whole unification project with the world, which is more than half the population, I'd assume.
Sadly, that goes against all that Babel stands for, and Teresa tells him that. But he was also aware. But sadly, again, others weren't, and didn't care. The best they could do was fortify defenses, and nothing more. A while later, the twins get approached by Ascalon, who is learning to adapt to civilization. Theresis gives her a knife, to the dismay of Teresa. She's young, but she will have to learn how to protect herself.
Yeah, unfortunately, in a society like this, in the position that she's in, she is more than likely going to see combat and people coming to take her life. It's just the way of things in this place.
Sooner or later, one thing that Teresa wanted to accomplish with Babel was higher education for her people. Sadly, no one liked Babel, so she never got any students other than Ascalon.
That's not good.
Many children died in war, and the ones living were forbid from participating in class from their parents. It wasn't just the children, but the teachers were leaving due to fear as well. Things just weren't working. Thankfully, there was an orphan boy in Castle that wanted to climb higher. Manfred. Didn't show up for school, he simply wanted to talk to Theresis. He wanted things to change, but didn't know where to start. All the adults around him were stressed and were doing something, so he had to do something as well. That was just how it had to work. And so he became one of the two students of Babel, along with Ascalon. Two kids taught by the legendary twins. There was another kid that was soon going to become an orphan. Goodluck was filled with rage. He had to do something to the people who had hurt his wife. And so he tells Oda to wait for him. Once he got back, he would teach Oda how to fight. But until then, he had to go on a quest. His luck was running out.
Revenge.
Dumb, worthless slave.
Damn.
Summer of 1086. The teachers who had left Babel have started secretly teaching the kids in the city, unbeknownst to others. In the Scar market, Goodluck has been going through contract after
teaching.
I mean, what else are you going to get here in this sort of society, in this culture? That's the best you can provide, unfortunately.
Kids, you want to learn some arithmetics?
Contract on a never-ending journey with no destination. New jobs have been opening up, jobs regarding Babel. And so, Goodluck took one of those jobs as well. His job was simple. Kill one of the teachers spreading good word about Babel. The contractor? Who truly knows? Shockingly, his contract leads him to his old home, the one he abandoned for his quest. You see, Castle has been going through a Great Depression. Things have not been working out. The people needed someone to blame, and they chose Babel. It was Babel who brought enemies inside their walls. Babel who worsened their apathy with their shady medicine. Babel who sapped their will to fight with their education. All of what I'm saying, including the blame part, is what the teachers have been feeding the children of Castle, one of which was Oda. They have been trying to salvage the reputation of Babel in whatever ways they can. While the teacher's lessons was going on, they heard a knock, and him, along with all the other children, had to hide. It was Oda's home, so he had to answer. Behind the door was Ascalon. Oda told her that only he lived there, but Ascalon knew better than that. She simply thanked Oda for keeping the teacher around for all this time, but it was also time to move. Things were getting heated in Castle. She left, leaving Oda and the children alone with their teacher. He had to leave. Oda was going to take care of the children, but the teacher had to leave for his own good. The problem is that Castle has been growing much faster than its public thinking. There must be a way to change things, but as far as the teacher was aware, the solution was not inside the walls of Castle. They were aware of the assassination attempts. This was not the first mercenary that had come to take his head. After he left, Oda leaves the door open for a moment longer, waiting for someone who will never come. Good Luck saw Oda and faltered. He abandoned Oda.
Yeah, your own boy.
It has been years. Oda has been without family for more time than he has been with one. Even so, Good Luck could not stop. For the sake of Oda's future, according to him, he had to do this job. As he took his
According
step,
to him, yeah.
he got killed. His throat slit open, wide. Another assassin killed by Ascalon.
Damn. Ascalon is ruthless. Also a massive blow up.
His
Right.
corpse taken away somewhere else to be forgotten.
She looks awesome.
His luck
She does.
had ran out.
To be honest,
After
all
wa-
the Sarkos look awesome. I'm a big fan.
I like the idea and the designs for them. It just fits so well with the theme. I don't know. It's also just my aesthetic, I guess, preference.
Right.
Ascalon gets
I'm a big
approached
fan
by
of the
Manfred.
demon characters.
Both managed to grow up as powerful individuals.
Also, actually, who was that?
Ascalon gets approached by Manfred.
Manfred.
That's Manfred?
He also. he
Holy
also had the
mother
blow
of
up.
Gloa! What the fuck, dude? Jesus!
Both managed to grow up as powerful individuals working under the twins. To Manfred, what Ascalon was doing was pointless. She can kill as many mercenaries as she likes, but it won't matter. More will come. Ascalon blames the military commission, and by extension, Theresis for the state of things.
Okay, I just realized what was going on. So Ascalon slit Good Luck's throat because she knew that Good Luck was here to assassinate a teacher of Babel. And Good Luck, who was kind of a part of that, and his son is also a part of that, went out to get a job in order to do that? What a dumbass, man. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness.
Yeah.
Okay, I understand now why this creator was like dogging on this dude for being so dumb and having a stupid ass name. Yeah, that was certainly a decision that was made. And granted, he didn't know, and he was probably like mad about a lot of stuff that was happening. And it's still, it's your boy. Like, take care of your boy. What are you doing? You just orphaned him. Awesome.
Both Ascalon and Manfred grew up around the twins. Ascalon was always the better fighter, more efficient and instinctually more aware of how to fight. They dueled countless times under the watch of the twins, feuding a friendly rivalry between them. Still, the time that the twins and the kids spent together was bittersweet. Yes, they managed to change Ascalon and Manfred, but what about the rest of the children? Teresa tells Theresis that Babel just needs time, but sadly, time is a luxury at this point. But education can't be rushed either. The best they could do was wait and hope.
What? What is this Danganronpa character?
That's the character. That's not even a Danganronpa character. That's the character from Fate that we saw earlier.
Oh, I see. Okay. What Survey is referencing is Thorgy's top 100 fighting games of all time video that we recorded before this recording. We were talking about this when he showed, what was it? Melty Blood? Yeah. It's like the Danganronpa character. No. It's so recognizable. You would just know it the moment you see it. Yes, it is going to take time. When you're trying to re-educate an entire nation and nobody wants to get education and there's only 2 kids, that's going to take time to wait for them to grow up, and they're just a tiny part of that entire nation. Change is hard, man. Difficult.
Yeah.
When we've already had our ways set, and this is just a convenient way to live, to ensure that we get to live on. I think this plan is doomed from the start, but I can't blame them for trying.
You can see the writing on the walls, but it's like, what else can you do?
Be the change that you want to see in the world, but that doesn't necessarily mean the world is going to change with you.
Start to duel again. Once again, Ascalon winning the bout. Except their rivalry had grown from friendly to almost cutting. Ascalon left the military commission to work for Teresa, while Manfred decided to work under Theresis. The gap between the twins was growing. The Sarkas loved Theresis and the military commission. For the race that is war, the strength of the commission was respectable. Babel, on the other hand, was a clear weakness. The Sarkas didn't hate Teresa, but they saw her as too idealistic. At this point, it was clear to everyone involved that the power wasn't held by the twins, but by the people, for good and bad. Giving people power is nice, but sadly, people are stupid. And even more sadly, they held all the power, even if they didn't know it.
Yeah, it very much is a balancing act. I'm glad that I'm not in a leadership role of an entire nation. And when I am, that's usually in the form of a video game where I don't really have to worry about that kind of shit. But in reality, yes, the people are your power, but you have to make sure that they don't realize that they have so much power that you don't matter in the grand scheme of things. You have to have some sort of way to convince them to follow you. And Babel is very idealistic and is certainly not accepted currently by anyone. And is hated by more than everyone, so it's not looking good for Teresa at all.
After talking for a bit, Ascalon and Manfred part. Manfred visits Oda. Oda remembers him, but Manfred didn't. Not that it mattered.
Damn.
With him, Manfred brought good luck's belongings. Someone had to do it. And with sorrow, Manfred did it. Oda was thankful. He kept his face up, telling Manfred these things are common nowadays. Right up until Manfred left, after which Oda started crying. Manfred felt sorrow no more. Oda was right. These things were becoming too common. A bit later, a commotion started regarding the very teacher who should have left Kazdal. The teacher had killed another person and got heavily injured at the same time.
Bruh.
He was confronted by the father of one of the children he was teaching, and things escalated, leading to this tragedy. Oda wasn't there to witness it, but he managed to see the dead body of the father who had confronted the teacher. Cold and motionless. Beside him was Oda's teacher, in grief over what he had done, bleeding out. The teacher knew what he had done. A second, more problematic, crack. As a result, an artillery shot the walls of Babel as revenge, fired by the Sarkas of Kazdal. Oda, in a hurry, took the child of the man who had died into Babel to heal him. As soon as Oda takes the kid to a doctor, the doctor tells him that he will give them medicine, but they should also leave. Quickly.
You get
Things
the fuck
were
out.
obvious. Babel was not welcome in Kazdal anymore, so Teresa was planning on taking Babel outside of it, leaving Theresis to rule alone. Oda, being a Babel admirer, decided to join right then and there, becoming an official member of Babel. As for the teacher, in his final moments, a banshee decided to sing him an elegy, the child of Lakramaline, which had been going on about in castle invisible as a ghost to learn as much as he could. Before his lesson was interrupted, the teacher was saying that Babel is going to... Before his words were cut off. So, the banshee asked him what he thought, to which the teacher told him that Babel was going to die. The teacher hoped that he was wrong. He wasn't. Teresa had done all that she could. Her path wasn't wrong. Even so, it was too little too late. Something was going to give, and that tragedy is what gave. Lakramaline visited Teresa, telling her of the things I just said. But she wasn't there for the sake of the Banshee Court. Afanel, her kid, wanted to follow Babel, and she just wanted to see him off. 2 days later, Ascalon visited Therasis. Why did he have to banish Babel? Before she could say something stupid, Therasis tells her that even Teresa would disagree with her. There was nothing else that could be done. If they wanted some semblance of control, Babel had to leave. He asked Ascalon what
That is unfortunately true. And it makes a lot of sense that some of the newer generation were like, we want to follow this. This seems like a better way to live. But the majority of people aren't going to be that, unfortunately. And if we want to maintain any sort of semblance of peace, quote unquote, that we have here, Babel can't be a part of it. So, yeah.
I mean, something that's historically proven time and time again is people don't like change. So when you have a group of people who their entire existence is just kind of war and chaos, when you try and have peace and order, there's going to be a big resistance there.
100%. They don't know how to live that way. This is their life, and you're going to come in here and force your ideals upon me to make me change my way of living? Hell no. I'll do the thing that I do best. Still very sad, though. And I see what you meant when we talked about Teresa earlier. That, it's not a Mikolo situation. Mikolo was very manipulative of all the people around him. She's just too idealistic. Yeah. It's a beautiful idea that wasn't wrong in concept. In a vacuum, this is great. But reality doesn't work that way, I suppose. This piece of fiction doesn't work that way. And things don't end hunky-dory. People, well, I suppose, in this case, ancients, sarcas, suck. They all get along.
Arknights is fiction, but you see so much of real world in it that you're like, nope, this wasn't gonna go any other way, unfortunately.
Yeah. Maybe in the future, in a different kind of society, in a different kind of place, a different kind of world, this might work. But not in the current situation. Not in the way that we did it.
she believes in. Just as she was about to say Teresa's ideals, he cut her off. He doesn't care about that. He wants her ideals. Ascalon's not Teresa. Ascalon tells him that she wants to follow Teresa, so Thyrsis lets her go. Follow Teresa, but don't adopt all her views. Think for yourself. And with that, Ascalon leaves. Which leaves the twins' final goodbye. Neither of them wanted this. They had been together for over a century. They hadn't lived without each other pretty much ever. If another conflict like this with the teacher happened, Thyrsis would have to kill Teresa. He didn't want that. Castle needed a king, but the people had made their choice. Teresa and her ideals had to depart. Teresa tells Thyrsis that if the worst comes and the things she is working for are blocked by Thyrsis, she will kill him as well. Again, the twins hated this, but there was no other way.
That's just
To
how it
delay the
is.
inevitable, Teresa left, keeping peace in Castle for a while longer. As she left, she got a letter from a doctor of Babel, one with a lot of power. an ancient entity that wanted to work under Teresa. She had found a possible solution, a legacy that could help their dreams.
Then is this what Rhodes Island is? That it spawns from this ideal of Babel?
Not quite. Like, it's the way I kind of see Rhodes Island versus Babel is you have similar thoughts, but it's based more around infected than it is around the races.
Mm-hmm.
Where Rhodes Island is kind of doing everything they can to help the infected, where the infected are generally very marginalized and discriminated against group, but they're not actually well, they kind of are, but not really. I don't know.
We'll get there, yeah. But considering the ideals that I know of when it comes to Rhodes Island, it makes a lot of sense that sort of the founder of Rhodes Island would be a part of Babel if she was in this situation. This is where she'd be.
Over 1300 years ago, Terra was a completely different place, inhabited by races unlike now. The people of interest are basically just human. As I said, in Terra, every person is a human plus something else. They could be an animal or some kind of mythological entity. But I'm talking about the people of...
Hey, Vsauce here.
Actually, we don't know their name. I don't think we do. There's a lot we don't know about them, so for the sake of convenience, let's call them sapiens. Sapiens were very smart, powerful, and capable. The technology they had far surpasses what current Terra has. Only Aegirians have actually managed to salvage some of their technology. Other races of Terra are working from the ground up. Sadly, we haven't had an event about sapiens, and all that we really know about them comes from unreliable narrators, so I'm going to try my best to get things right.
I see.
This civilization had...
I mean, it's really neat when a series can pull off an unreliable narrator in a nice way that is both convincing and compelling. I think that's really hard to do. Because otherwise it's just...
I don't know much about the priestess, but she seems like a very interesting character.
Oh, was that the priestess?
Mm-hmm.
I guess she was the only other human that we've seen outside of the main character. So that makes sense, yeah.
Billions of people. It had the capacity to explore the stars. They even had the power to create artificial life forms. And yet, due to a rather vague threat, they had to be wiped out. To combat the threat, the science...
Okay, are we suggesting it's the Lovecraftian monsters that are currently in the ocean right now? Was that a...
Who knows?
Huh. Oh,
I don't know.
You only sort of mentioned that in passing when we were watching the last video. We haven't actually seen them, at least from my exploration of the lore. It'd be really cool to see them, though. If they were ever showcased at all, or if they're just like this mysterious looming entity, maybe. I don't know.
I mean, I don't know too much about it, because I just started the game myself. Funny enough, there was a rerun of an event with the Abyssal Hunters and the Seaborn when I started playing it. It just finished, but I couldn't get too far into it because my units aren't very good. So
yeah, you just started the game. I wonder a lot about these things. Like, if there are Atlantean people, then how do they live in the ocean if these things are kind of just there, around there? But yeah, those are questions that we won't get any answers to in this video, I don't think.
Not in this one, but I would definitely check out more of that with you. I haven't looked too much into them myself, a whole lot. I watched one short video on it.
Gotcha,
but they're really cool, and I like it, obviously. That's
it's your thing.
Everywhere up my alley.
Quite literally your thing, yeah.
Of this civilization tried everything they could to survive, to keep their homes intact. They managed to keep Terra safe, but otherwise, in present day, they are mostly forgotten memories. Two of the geniuses that tried to save the Sapiens were a shady woman called the Priestess, and someone who we will know as the Doctor. I'm not going to get into too much detail here, but their idea for saving their race required a certain something. And that something was Originium.
Yep.
It was them that made Originium in order to survive.
The gotcha currency will save us.
Homunculus thing that was called AMA 10. You see, sapiens never gave up on their quest. They knew that their time was going to end, so they made stasis coffins where they could survive for extended periods of time in a state of unconsciousness. One of the sapiens who slept in one of those coffins was the Doctor. So, with these coffins,
okay, slight spoiler for Nier Automata. This is basically the plan for the humans on the moon, right? Basically.
Kinda. Yeah.
Not gonna go into more detail on that, but yeah.
sapiens could survive until a specific time. For the Doctor, that specific time was left up to Ama 10, also known as Kelshi.
Yeah,
she would
okay.
roam the land.
Okay, that's how you pronounce it, Kelshi. I was like, Cal's kid?
I'm not sure, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of names in this game that I am not sure how to pronounce exactly.
I think Arknights in particular really doesn't shy away from just having straight up unpronounceable names unless you know the language. Or
I feel like Arknights is very global, for lack of a better word.
Yeah,
so it's like there's a lot of names with different roots from different languages and different things. It's like some of them I kind of know a little, and others I'm like, I'm just not even gonna try.
I've seen it in passing, but I think there are certain characters in Enfield that just speak their native language. Like, they'll just straight up speak Italian.
Two of them just speaking Italian. That's super cool.
Yeah.
I know I think I don't know if I said it in the video, but I was talking to some people in call, and I have Thorns as one of my characters on the home screen.
Mm-hmm.
And there's an idle dialogue that he has just on the home screen. I'm sitting there and I had to listen to it like 10 times. I'm like, I don't think he's speaking English to me right now. It has the subtitles so I could read what it was saying, but I'm like, that's not in English.
Mm-hmm. I think that's really cool that we just stick to the origins. It also helps to recognize who is from where, if you can at least recognize the language.
Live and learn until it was time for the Doctor's awakening again. Again, there are a lot of specifics that we don't know about. We know frighteningly little about the sapiens, and some of the other stuff we do know, I will go over later. For now, all you need to know is that Kelshi eventually joined Babel, becoming a doctor there. The same doctor that sent Teresa the letter I talked about in the last section. The legacy she talked about was the Doctor. So Teresa took a journey to Rimbillington to see the Doctor for herself. There was no one else with a better understanding of Originium than the Doctor. If he was still alive anyway. I didn't mention this before, but due to the reckless nature of the Sarkas, a lot of them suffer from oripathy. And while oripathy is life-threatening, it makes art stronger. So some Sarkas even become infected willingly. One of the things that Babel was created to do was help with oripathy. And beyond that, Originium is a very versatile ingredient. Who knows what could be done with it with the help of the Doctor. It wasn't a perfect plan, but it was a huge leap into a new direction, something Babel desperately needed. Kelshi was obviously very nervous. After over 10,000 years, she was going to awaken her creator again. The last thing the Doctor told her was to search for hope, for life, to find herself. So, they opened his coffin, bringing a whole new creature into their world. He was confused. A whole new world was built after his had fallen. New languages, new concepts. He was surprised to see Kelshi, to see how much she had changed. Still, he was curious about her view on life, the view of his own creation. But sadly, that is a stupid question and one that no one can truly answer whether they're still alive. She was still in the process of understanding herself, but beyond that, there was something that the Doctor had to know.
I mean, I get it, right? As a mad scientist myself, if I created artificial life and then however many years pass by, 10,000+ years pass by, what have you become? What have you learned? After all this time with all these experiences, we need to document all this.
What had become of Originium? It was complicated. The main point of Originium was to spread all around Terra, but it was still at the process of doing just that. That is all the Doctor needed to know. He could tell that Kelshi woke him up because his help was needed. It was his time. He looked to Theresa, noticing the Civilite Eterna on her head, something his civilization had made prior. Kelshi introduces him to Theresa, and they begin to talk. He was curious, too curious about her kind, about this new world, but also the old one. To find traces of his old time, he had to find out more about the new one. And so Theresa tells him all that she can tell. Civilization is born due to instinct. Instinct is what keeps a species alive. But curiosity is what drives a species forward. Without instincts, a species can't survive. Without curiosity, it can't thrive. Curiosity lit fire, and fire became light. Light became the symbol of hope. To the Sarkas, death is just another extension of that. Once a dead Sarkas is thrown into the soul furnace, they become a part of Kazdal, living alongside a new generation. Progress mixed with ignorance in a constant cycle. Beautiful, nostalgic. The Doctor was ecstatic. Theresa's ultimate goal was the unification of Terra, and the Doctor could feel just how much she desired that. She loved Terra with all of her heart. But that is simply not the way of the Sarkas, or as the Doctor knew them, the Tikas. They will loathe her love.
The Tikas were around 13,000 years ago. There's a lot of history there that I don't need to get into. So they are actually people that the Doctor recognizes from before he went to sleep too, which is interesting.
My understanding is that the Sarkas, and the reason they're so diverse as opposed to like all the other races, where it's like you have a separate race for like 3 different dog types and 2 different cat types or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is because the Tikas, which are the Sarkas, were the races before the rest of them showed up, wherever they got there. So then when the other races got there, all of the original ones, so like the vampires, the liches, like the Cyclops, all just kind of got grouped up into the Sarkas.
Interesting. So
that is my very loose understanding of that.
That is really funny, though. It's like new tenants came into the house, so everybody has to stay now in this one room. You guys are just kind of like the old generation. Nobody's really interested in seeing you, so you just stay here for now.
I think that's part of why also the Sarkas and everyone else don't get along very well also.
That's a long history of hatred, yeah?
Yeah.
As it usually goes.
The Doctor admired her persistence in spite of what she was going through. Still, at the end of the day, the Doctor was mostly just a researcher. He didn't exactly know how much he could help.
Yeah, not a super
He wanted to, but
I actually like this take on the player character. Because it's like you see a lot of times in gacha games, like Wuthering Waves is a good example. It's like the rover is some pre-existing god creature coming down to like, I don't know, look at his people, but it's like they're some greater power. Whereas the Doctor, it's like, has a lot of knowledge and has a lot of power, but it's not from like anything other than just pre-existing knowledge and history, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think it's a cool way to do that. It's less the like quote unquote chosen one or like the god character, and more of just like, I guess, ancient knowledge more than anything. I don't know.
I mean, we're obviously not some ordinary person still, but we're not, the chosen one storyline. We're not Neo in the Matrix here to bend reality to our will. We got to work with what we find, and I do think stories like that are compelling. Not that like chosen one stories don't have their place, obviously, But there's
Yeah,
just a lot
no,
of
for
media
sure.
that it's refreshing to see stuff like this.
Yeah, it's a similar setup to a lot of them, but I like this interpretation of it, I guess is what I'm saying.
Confused, obviously. He needed to feel the land for himself. The development of Originium was wildly different from what he had expected. He needed time to understand the culture that Originium had shaped. So, after a while, he decided to go on a journey to explore Terra for himself. He wanted little help, mostly just some supplies. Teresa decides to have Ascalon secretly follow the Doctor to keep him safe, but also, more importantly, to give Ascalon the chance to learn about the world outside of Castle.
That's a good
She
idea.
was still too bound to Teresa. She needed a chance to grow. So, the Doctor leaves with minimal assistance and a shadow following behind him. Still, Teresa wondered, if Originium took a wildly different path than what the Doctor had expected, what was
the intent?
Originium originally meant to be? What was Terra supposed to be? What were the Sarkas meant to be? And so, for the next few months, the Doctor traveled across Terra, learning about its different cultures and going on a true adventure. In his journey, he rescued a little girl by the name of Amia. This girl had lost both of her parents and was getting deported from her home due to her infection. By chance, he came across her and decided to take her along on his adventures. Otherwise, she would die. This is important because Amia is the first victim of oripathy that the Doctor really gets to know. Originium, the thing that was meant to save his people, ruining the future of a girl with no known cure. Just like Teresa, the Doctor has incredible amounts of empathy and love. There was no way he was leaving Amia alone.
I would hope that if you are a doctor, this is your general attitude towards other living beings, yes.
Yeah.
He also came across another cultist, basically a rabbit woman, by the name of Charlotte, also known as Savage. She joined his journey because she admired
She's a
him.
savage.
And so he spent a good decent amount of time traveling with Amia, Savage, and a hidden Ascalon. Still, being a little kid in such dire circumstances wasn't good for Amia's mental health. She turned insomniac, had nightmares, and could only sleep within the proximity of the Doctor. She was getting better slowly, but also worse due to her oripathy. The Doctor had no oripathy medicine on him, and the only place that did was Babel. He had traveled for some months, taking in familiar
This is
yet
such a cute picture. I really like it.
Well, I mean, however many years you've been asleep, we're not going to be able to really ride the animals of this day and age very well, so don't blame him.
different sites throughout his journey. He had a blast during his adventures with Amia and Savage, Ascalon. Even so, the holiday had to come to an end at some point.
Yeah.
Now that he had met Amia, he had stakes in this. To save Amia, he needed to cure oripathy, which comes from Originium, something he helped create. Because of Terra, he remembered.
Yeah, I feel a little bit responsible for this, especially if I got to know somebody who was infected by the thing that I created, maybe even in a way that we never anticipated would happen. Have we at all covered in Arknights what Originium was created for, specifically, and what it would do?
We'll actually get to that in this video.
Okay, gotcha.
Remembered how to love. He remembered how to hope. So, he had to help her out in some way. Right? Amia was scared of going into Babel because, as far as she was concerned, whenever children left home due to oripathy, they never returned. Savage told the Doctor that he doesn't have to go back, that he can just keep Amia in Rimbillington. Rimbillington's whole culture is about them mining Originium. If there's anywhere that knows how to deal with infections, it's Rimbillington. Still, the doctor knew that at best, that was only a temporary solution.
Have we learned about Billington at all in the previous video?
We covered it briefly in the previous video, but not super in depth. Basically, they're kind of a society of coal miners, basically, but with originium.
Oh, that one. Okay. Were they the corporatocracy?
I don't remember anymore. There's a lot of them.
I see. Okay.
They are more business minded, I think, for sure, and like utilitarian, I guess. I don't. We definitely covered them briefly in the other video, but I did all mix it together for me. I'm
Gotcha.
still trying to learn it all.
I might have to go back and check it then. This wasn't the place with the rabbit people with the cones on their head, right? Or is that a different place?
Yes, it is. These are the rabbit people.
Okay.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Needed to find a way to cure Amiya once and for all.
That's
even
why we
if it
found
meant putting
Amiya
her
and
in
Savage
labs
here.
every now and then.
Yeah.
Idealistic and somehow pragmatic, like something in between Teresa and Theresis. He left the decision to Amiya, and of course, Amiya wanted to follow the doctor to Babel, even if she was scared. Summer of 1091. They were close. They reached a particularly dangerous area controlled by mercenaries. Amiya was infected and Ascalon was already part of Babel. That's only left Savage, which didn't need to be there. The doctor told her that they had to part ways due to the dangers ahead, but she declined. She had to stay. He gives up, letting her do her thing, and as soon as she goes to find some transport hub to get them through safely, he tells Amiya that it's time to go. Amiya asks him why, and he tells her that sometimes people have to do bad things for good reasons. Babel is in a dangerous state. Amiya has no choice but to go. Savage, on the other hand, already had a life in Billington. She has no reason to risk her life anymore. She also won't take no for an answer, so this was the best thing the doctor could do. Leave, while only leaving a letter. This, later on, in the main story, becomes a part of Amiya's ideals with the whole Misha storyline, doing bad things for the sake of good. Sadly, early Arknights writing was mediocre at best and...
Damn. Well, we had to start from somewhere, I suppose. But that does tell you a lot about the Doctor as a character, of his ideals, and I suppose it's more of a scientific way of looking at it, where there really is no reason for you to go. So this is just the best possible outcome for everybody, without really considering, I suppose, that more human side to people, that emotional side of being betrayed and, I guess, abandoned in a way. Even though it's really not that,
kind
but...
of a parallel to the end justify the means kind of way. Doing the wrong thing for the right reasons. Where you're like, you're trying to look at the final outcome more than the path that you take to get there, right?
I mean, it's obviously not a drastic thing. He just simply left her here where she already has a life and would be much safer than going to this dangerous warmongering society and a place where everybody wants to nuke it, essentially, in order to find a potential cure that may or may not be there. You never know. So it's like, yeah, our hopes aren't really high, and it's just better to just stay here. So yeah, I get that, but if I was Savage, that would suck.
Yeah.
Misha's storyline was mind-boggling, so thankfully none of that is important to this video. Whether that is actually
I'm kind of still going through the first couple chapters of Arknights, so I don't have an opinion on those yet.
Gotcha. Well, I guess we'll know Serby's opinion at some point in the future, once you get there.
Well, we will see. Autumn of 1091. The Doctor was close to returning to Babel, along with Ascalon and Amiya. Kelshi was irrationally nervous whenever he came to the Doctor. While she looked up to the Doctor, there was something that put her on edge when it came to him. Foreshadowing. Still, Kelshi wanted to make sure that the existence of the Doctor was kept a secret until him and Teresa reached a conclusion. So, at this point, little of Babel actually knew about the Doctor. Soon, they would know. And soon, the Doctor returned to Babel. The first person to greet him, and Amia, was Teresa. Amia was incredibly tired, so Teresa carried her sleeping form into Babel and started talking to the Doctor. In the time while he was away, things had changed. Babel is now pretty much enemies with the military commission and Kasdal as a whole. They had spies planted in Kasdal, both sides were wary of each other and almost actively hostile. Babel had adopted the Doctor's ship, in which his coffin was located, as its base of operations. And now it was time to introduce the Doctor to the rest of Babel. He didn't know how to present himself. After all, he was pretty much new to all of this. Kelsey approached him, wanting to run some tests on Amia. And also she asked the Doctor if he was planning on leaving again, and he said no. He had made up his mind. At the very least, Kelsey could tell that he truly cared about Amia's health, and in turn, Terra as a whole. That put her doubts at ease. She leaves with Amia, leaving the Doctor and Teresa alone.
Oh, that's right. You had mentioned something about this where she was kind of scared to wake you up because she didn't know which side you would stand on, and so kind of giving you that time to create connections to the current Terra would mean that it would be a lot easier to convince you to stay and, I guess, help out current Terra, as opposed to the original goal, which I still don't know of yet.
There was something that Teresa urgently wanted to show the Doctor. She takes him outside, following a path through the wasteland. Finally, they reach somewhere that no star could see, and in there was a flower field. But not one made with Originium arts, but with Originium itself. The pinnacle of Sarka's Originium research. Only a single garden.
I think people have seen this set in Enfield or something similar to it, which, again, I'm still brand new to the lore, but I don't know what that would imply. Just from
But one that took blood, sweat, and tears to grow. This part is difficult. I'm pretty sure I understand it and will explain what exactly this flower field represents once I talk more about the Sapiens. For now, know that it's a reversal. The Doctor was astonished by how far she had come in her research. But before they could talk more about it, Teresa got an urgent call from Babel, one concerning the military commission and Victoria, one of the most powerful nations of Terra.
Or they're taking Victoria.
While Babel was struggling, the military commission...
Yeah, maybe this is when they are
Yeah.
Victoria. That would make sense.
Feels like we're starting to get there, where the brother who's ruling more with that realistic iron fist for his particular nation is going to do the thing that they probably would
when the
do.
military kingdom does the military thing.
Shocking, I know. Surprise Pikachu face. Creating a super weapon to glass any part of the planet, whatever we want to. Yeah. But I think that's also probably a good place to call it here for now. Don't want to overload myself with too much info so I forget all about it. Still super interesting though. A lot of ways that the story has evolved, which I think is pretty natural and is, I'm assuming, going to be a common theme throughout the lore of Arknights from here on in, is just, if this is how it would work in reality, this is exactly how it's going to go in Arknights lore.
Yeah.
You see the writings on the wall, and you understand why characters will still do it, because they want to hope, they want to change, but life sucks, and this is just how it goes. Still gonna fight for it, though. Every last step. I find it interesting, though, that we're not like a blank slate protagonist. That the Doctor does have their own personality and ideals to them. I don't know if current day Doctor that you play as is that because of the whole amnesiac situation, or if you ever regain your memories. But does seem like in our history we were a particular type of person. That was maybe a little bit scary too, depending on who you ask.
It is interesting from my perspective, I guess, because I assume prior to this event, people didn't know much of the Doctor's backstory. Whereas since I've just kind of been diving into watch a bunch of lore stuff, it's like I am at the beginning of the game knowing the Doctor's history, which is an interesting perspective too.
Yeah, going through the game with that prior knowledge. It's
Yeah.
something that I do enjoy, and like when I check out a lore for a series before even playing the game, some people are like, why are you spoiling yourself on all this? But it gives you a very unique perspective on certain things that happen throughout the game, or gives you more things to reference from whenever you see something happen, or you get why certain decisions were made more, and you can appreciate them greater in that sort of aspect. Looking forward to seeing more of this for sure whenever we can get to record this again. These videos are a lot of fun. And if you haven't already, for whatever reason, once again, go and support the OG creators. Like,
100%.
definitely
yes,
deserve
please
more
do.
subscribers for all the work that they put in behind these videos. But yeah, that's going to be it from me and Serby today, my dudes. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Hope you all enjoyed your time here. Hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Later, dudes.
Bye bye.
Bye.